Well, hi, my name is Mark Hundley, and this is Live at 5 for a Monday. It's been about a week since I last saw you. Last week was an incredibly busy week, and I spent a little time on the road, did a few things that kept me away from the camera part, video camera part of my phone. So I'm back with you today, and I'm sorry for the glare. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading. Um, I really wanted to do this one from the hip and just talk from my heart. So it's going to be a little bit of a combination of reading because there's some things that I want to make sure that I share with you, and also just kind of talk from my heart a little bit about in the name of God. Now, before I get in there into this and talk with you a little bit, I hope you've had a good week. I hope that things are going well for you. I hope that you had a little bit of time to relax over the weekend and do some things that were fun for yourself and that you're practicing good self-care. Anyway, let's dive in. Let's dive in the name of God. In the name of God. One of the most common phrases that I heard growing up was in the name of God. Now, I'm a PK, a preacher's kid. So I was around not just my dad's church, but he was a little bit of a rambler. He moved around quite a bit. I never stayed in one place too terribly long. I think I was in 9 different schools in 12 years of schooling. So being around a lot of different churches gave me the opportunity to hear that phrase in the name of God. And so I was around enough to know that when that introductory part of the phrase in the name of God usually was the lead in to some sort of exclamation or encouragement or exultation, something that outlined an action or event that was purportedly to be a part of the will of the Almighty. Okay. Now at home, that was a little bit of a different situation there. In the name of God at home, when I was growing up, was often followed by the phrase of something like, "What were you thinking, Mark?" So it would go something like this: "In the name of God, what were you thinking, Mark?" Because I had done something to distress my parents or go against them. And obviously, when that happened, some sort of punishment was ensuing as a result of my infraction. And more often than not, you got it, I got my butt busted, right? And so imagine my early connotations of in the name of God. Yep. I felt like I'd better get ready because if I wasn't sure, I was going to get some really big ass whooping because I had done something wrong. You know, it was spare God's rod and spoil me. Yikes, right? Well, then as I grew, I became aware that in the name of God was generally a statement that announced some unbelievable action or event. It was almost a lead into almost anything. I often heard it used this way: "In the name of God, can you believe what that guy just said?" Or, "In the name of God, can you believe what that woman just did?" Okay, so it was something that pronounced some heavy information that needed to be heard. And later in life, like late high school and early college years, I discovered how adherents of God called by different names, because God has been called by different names from different groups all through history, but that God called by different names perpetrated atrocious acts on other people simply because those people were different. People were maimed, imprisoned, enslaved, or killed in the name of God. And it seemed that people found justification for participating in the depravity and of the worst kind by stamping God's name on their inhumane and inhuman acts against other human beings. They walked around carrying a false sense of spiritual superiority, knowing in their heart of hearts that what they did, whatever they did, was really okay because it was being done in the name of God, right? Kind of stupid. Generally today, we find fewer and fewer groups who follow the path and that path, and yet there are pockets of them that remain, and those pockets are rather deep and rather big, and the damage that those pockets of spiritual arrogance can cause, well, it's almost incomprehensible, but it happens all the time. You might sit there and say, "Well, Mark, you're not talking about me. I mean, that's for sure. There's no way that I've done those things. And on the surface, you're probably right. Most, if not all, who venture to listen to this little video have never maimed or imprisoned or enslaved or killed anyone for believing differently than they. At least not literally. My point is this. What are some of the milder atrocities we commit in the name of God on a daily basis? Well, whenever we hate or label or deceive or misconstrue and do so under the banner of God's name, are we not guilty? When we exclude because of race or color or religion or sexual orientation and do so under the banner of God's name, are we not guilty? When we demand unquestioned fealty to our own personal spiritual superiority and do so under the banner of God's name, are we not guilty? When we purposefully cover acts that are inherently evil and then justify them because of some political or ideological position or holding and do so under the banner of God's name, are we not guilty? You get my point, don't you? We don't have to be knights in the Crusades or tormentors of in the Inquisition. No, all we need to do is act in ungodly ways and justify those actions because we do them in the name of God. 1 John 4:20 says this, "Whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they've not seen." You see, I think we have way too many people in this world who claim to love the God of their particular religion or their particular slant on religion and commit acts contrary to the God they purport to worship. And that's sad. The sad part about this for me is, well, I really personally don't see much hope of it changing anytime soon. I really don't. Those who preach and live a philosophy of universal love, and there are those who do that, many of those who do that, are often quieted too quickly by those who live in the name of God. I may be naive. I know I'm bald, but I may be naive. But there's a part of me that still holds out hope that we'll begin to reconcile those thoughts and feelings and our love for God and begin to live and act in more godly ways, so that when we use the phrase in the name of God, it means something other than what it has so often become today. I hope you have a great Monday evening. I hope you have a great week. And I hope that the God who warms your heart to love others will warm your life this week. Go in peace. Good night, and thank you.